They figured it out. Thank goodness. I'm so passionate about this.
This is something that really connects you spiritually. We got a really dope episode. It's me, Jason, JP, and my beautiful wife,
Dr. Ayo.
Yo. So today's episode's about cheating, but make it ethical. The rise of consent-based infidelity.
Ooh, consent-based infidelity. Ooh.
Yeah, this is real interesting. It's real interesting because, there's a lot of open marriages or open relationships in this new era. But honestly, it's always been there.
Really?
Like, you think about the Roman times when these cats was wearing skirt dress things and cats was...
Those were gladiator suits.
Right. That's one of my favorite movies. Gladiators coming out. I can't wait to see that.
Oh, I know. I'm excited.
I think November, matter of fact.
Don't ask me. Night. I don't even know what date it is today. Date night. But yeah, so open relationships. Right?
So the question is traditional monogamy dying with the modern relationship or in the modern age right now?
I definitely think monogamy is struggling right now. Monogamy is on the struggle bus. I hear a lot of people who are like, literally, I was talking to someone yesterday who was like, I don't even want nobody. Right. What? So we're over here. And then there's people who are like, I invited another girl into bed with us. This was all in the same 24-hour period. I was like, whoa. All right. Like, does anyone else just date and get married and do the thing? Y'all ain't even got to have kids.
That's so old school.
I know it is old school.
I'm old school though, so it's good with me.
But you just said the Romans wasn't doing it, so it was like old school,
but they were shady.
Meets new school meets old school. There's lots of schools. Tell me about the Romans and them. What were they doing?
Honestly, I didn't do enough research, but I know they were.
No.
I seen all the movies. Y'all seen the movies? Somebody going there with the cloth, out no cloth.
That's
back.
right.
I don't know what's going on.
They were doing a lot in Rome, but yeah, I think
it was harlots.
There were harlots. There are always harlots. The movies, even like Bridgerton, there's always the brothel and the hot rich guys be up in there.
Mary, was she a harlot?
I think she was a prostitute. Magdalene.
Magdalene.
That's right. That's right. Harlot. She turned her life around though. Second chances.
And that's what I love. God gives everybody a chance.
That's right.
Even if you
sinners and saints are blended. It's a gray area these days. I can't tell who the sinners are and who the saints are.
You can still dance on Tuesdays and come back to the house. But you gotta change your life around. You cannot stay in there. But there's no judgment. I don't know. I'm just saying what it probably say.
I'm just saying. But I do think Old Testament, people had to marry their brothers, husband's brother, when he died. There was a lot of things in the Old Testament that spoke to those times, and then the New Testament cleaned that all up.
How would you feel if
it was we ain't doing that no more?
You got traded for a goat or something like that? They be trading goats and you know what I mean? It was
I would be traded for a herd, honey. I am not a one goat kind of woman. Right.
I like that. I would have gave you the whole. I'd trade the whole land. Take all the East land. Take it all. Take all East Atlanta.
West side.
Take East Atlanta. It's gone.
But to your point, back in those days, there were where you married multiple sisters or the whole family you had was married to one dude or whatever. So I think that then got cleared up in the New Testament where they were like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. One man, one woman. Jesus said it, spoke on it a lot.
Kinda. But people had concubines. There were concubines. We can't forget about this. And those were it's you married, but you got 6 concubines. So it's what do we?
Such an old school word.
You got different wives. Are y'all? Is this a Tuesday? You know what I mean? So you wait in line for your opportunity.
Tuesday's your favorite day this week.
I do. Tuesdays. I love tacos.
You do love tacos.
We went to Mexico for our anniversary. I've been eating tacos ever since. Beans and tacos and cheese. Everything got cheese on it.
We're not there anymore.
Get away from the cheese.
We can eat American food now. We left
on it, though.
Cabo. You were real. We had a great time.
Oh, there's an interesting statistic.
Yes, give it to me.
5% of adults are currently in open relationships.
Wow.
5%.
I wonder, are those people married or just dating? But probably married if they considered it open.
Well, technically, it's a gray area. I probably should have did some more statistics on that. But
we can talk about anything. I'm good with the 5%. Yeah, I think 5% is a lot. it's even more people if it's not marriage. It's 5% of married people, but open is so interesting to me.
Right. You remember that episode of Insecure when the dude was in the girl, she got feelings and she wanted to break her. She wanted to.
Yeah.
But the lady.
Poor Molly.
Is it Molly? What's the one he was cheating with?
That was Molly.
Or he wasn't cheating. He was open.
I mean, I guess it was open. But then he was like, don't put my wife's name in your mouth. And I was like, oh. What? So he stood up for the wife and she was like, ooh, she felt real silly. But that's the thing. When you're the one that's not the wife, you're never going to win unless you take him from her. And then you're not in an open marriage anymore. This is wild. I don't know.
I feel like the other person has to have a kickstand. They have to have somebody else they can lean on, but they just want to dip and dabble in this relationship. Technically, JD, what would Jesus do? They shouldn't do it at all. But if they're going to do it, then, I mean, they need to have a kickstand just so they have something to fall on. So you're not pulling 100% of your eggs in this basket. So then you got the hurt Molly situation. Like, oh my God, he's using me. No, he told you what the deal was.
Okay. I feel like marriage is all your eggs in the basket. Literally, me and my ovaries took all of our eggs to that one basket. And like, so what does a kickstand look like? What does that look like?
Well, I was referring to if they weren't married.
Oh, if they weren't married.
Yeah, if they weren't married.
Now, if you're not married, it's still weird. Like what? So like if you're not married and you're just dating and then you bring someone else in. Now, are we talking about like sexually third or like we all together now? That's different. Like if you bringing someone in for the night and just when y'all are doing bedroom things or like his other wife is in the kitchen cooking and I got the kids.
But we got to think about this.
Wait, what is happening?
Is this actually an ethical thing? Should we actually be doing this? And honestly, if you really go down to it, getting to the brass tacks. Thanks you, Devin.
I love a good brass tack.
He always says that.
I like it.
It's like you're honestly splitting spirits. Like, because you're giving a part of yourself to somebody else. And who knows what their other person's ratchet self is doing. They might be giving you some, who knows where they came from or what they, you know what I mean? You're taking on some of that in your spirit. Then you wonder why you
like STDs or
no, it's like it's a spiritual thing. Like
infectious.
You take this on. Because it says, think about legions. So you get legions. Legions are basically demons.
That's right.
You get a bunch of demons. You get those. You can get those from having sex. Oh. So you're taking on somebody's spirit. So you're taking on all these demons. You stressed out. You're dealing with these issues you got going because you've allowed this other spirit into your situation, and it could definitely ruin. I mean, it's not. Well, it'll definitely ruin it.
Like a sex hopping demon.
Right.
I think that'd make a good movie. Sex hopping demons. Part 4 coming soon. But no, I'm here for you. Like, you're bringing someone else's energy. I mean, marriage is already hard enough.
God said this is spirit.
Relationships are already stressful and difficult enough without bringing in another person. I couldn't even imagine. Even bringing the kids in. I'd be like, y'all done messed this whole thing up. We was good, but y'all done tore all the things up. We got to redo this whole thing now.
And you don't know how many bodies they got on?
That's right.
A lot of spirits.
That's a lot of spirits. And that's like a legion army of sex hopping demons that are coming for you.
That was real deep. That was real.
But so like the Sister Wives show, like I know someone who watched like the Mormons. I think they're Mormon and they have multiple wives and they like get along. They're like friends. They're like, oh, you like to cook. I like to give head. You like to do the twerk thing and you good with the kids. Like, let's go break. Like everybody know they roll. So like, I feel like, I mean, we are Christian based, but they seem to make it work. No, I think there's drama. That's probably why there's a show about it. There's definitely
drama. But honestly, back in the days when there were concubines, was there this
Why you said concubines? Issues? Concubines.
Yeah, same word, right?
Yeah, but a B instead of a P. Yeah.
Oh, concubine?
Yes.
Oh, concubine. Concubine.
No! You keep reverting it back. We get what you're saying. I think that's
somebody wants Tuesday, somebody gets skipped on Tuesday, and now they want Friday. Like, let me get Friday and let me get a double up. So you doing a double on Friday, and then, you know.
Shifts? Like shift work.
Is God mad about this? Because, in the Old Testament, this was the thing.
Right.
But he says you should have, I need to find that scripture. Does it say one wife?
Yeah, you said it. So you said
I had to stick.
One wife, like a man finds one wife, and then a wife finds one man. So it was clear that they were supposed to have one and one. You take a wife and you become one. I mean, there's lots of New Testament referrals to like we're one. It's one.
It does. Old Testament was a little different because we possibly had to spread, they had to spread their seeds.
Yeah, they had to spread their seeds. I mean, people died at like 22. I mean, you had to that was just different times. They didn't even have antibiotics or anything back then. So I think like times were different.
Okay, so Matthew's 19:6 says, okay, so they are no longer two, but are one flesh. Therefore, God has joined them together. Yeah. Let no one separate. Let no one separate them.
Okay.
So honestly, from that, then you technically can't, because this is no one separate these people.
But what if you're not trying to separate? You're just kind of come into the situation and make it better. You like, I'm the Friday one, girl. You get a break.
But honestly, like you're like when you got splitting ends, splitting ends, like you splitting.
I agree. No, I do think
triple, whatever they call them.
I do think like polyamory is really big right now.
That's a big word.
Polyamory. I know I've had to learn it because therapeutically, there's a whole therapy group of people that have had to learn how to work with polyamorous couples and do like couple therapy with thruples and people in polyamorous relationships. And so it's definitely a growing thing. And like from a mental health perspective, trying to support relationships that have more than one individual, like not from a Christian perspective, but just a mental health perspective of like, how are y'all making this work?
Right. How are they making this work? I mean, and we have to wonder how that's really happening. Like, what about the people who want to go to Diddy's party? Like,
no.
If you're married and you like I'm going to Diddy's party, is that person okay? Is your spouse okay with that? Do they know what's really going on at Diddy's party?
Not Diddy again. No Diddy.
That's what I said. No Diddy.
So I would say no. You cannot go. But if wife number 4 says it's cool, I guess you got to figure out who's higher up on the food chain. That's the thing. In relationships, unless it's your children, and let's pray you don't necessarily love one more than the other.
No
even
Diddy,
if you do, even if you do, you treat them equal. I don't know. Can you have multiple situations, girlfriends, wives, and really not have some sort of hierarchy? Drop it in the comments. Can you be in a polyamorous relationship, a throuple, a open, bringing in a third, any of that more than 2 relationship and not have a hierarchy?
Right. That is definitely it.
I think you do. I think you're like 20, 40, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about it? As a man, like, why do they, well, no, women do it too, but why do you think men do it? Have more than one wife or girlfriend or any of these things?
I mean, I think what these people used to do back in college, when these guys, I knew them a long time ago, what they would do is the goal was to find the perfect individual, the perfect wife, the perfect girl. But the problem was you couldn't find her. So you needed a Tuesday to do maybe, let's say, laundry. You need a Wednesday for homework. You need a Thursday for test day. You need a Friday for the, for the situation. And then you needed, you know what I mean? So everybody kind of had a role to make. Yeah, everybody had a role to make. It was like a team. And then people had scrimmages. So like technically you were trying to find the perfect one, but it was so hard to find the perfect one.
Tell me about this scrimmage. What does that look like?
Can't talk about
No, about your friends.
What happened in the scrimmage?
What was a scrimmage for your friends?
I don't know. I can't, I'll take the 5th. Oh, these statistics. 20%. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, honestly.
What's a scrimmage?
Scrimmages, they hang out. You have a bunch of people at a party. You guys, you might date this girl, talk to that girl, and
you got more than one person at the same place at the same time.
Yeah. Oh. It's like you're at a party. You got a whole.
I've been there when that happened to somebody.
And then when they know that, you're here for him, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it could pop
and I've had girls know they were all there for the same guy, and they were cool with it. He was usually rich though, so. I think those are rich.
Most of the guys in college weren't really rich. They were just, they Jedis. I like to call them Jedis.
Yeah,
they were Jedis.
But they might have had like the aura of I will futurely be rich. So if you catch me now, then I might tag along myself to a rich train of people. I don't know.
So I had a really interesting, so let's go back to the scripture. So Exodus 20:14, you shall not commit adultery.
That's right.
Addressing in infidelity, it says it's immoral.
Yeah.
So technically, what is adultery?
That's the question, I think. And in the Old Testament, in Exodus' Old Testament, I think adultery was like, you already got 4 wives and a concubine. Don't be bringing somebody else in the situation, right?
Right.
But I think now,
And who said that was okay? Did the priest have? Oh yeah, the priest can have.
I think priests can have sex, huh? No, priests can't have sex.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. They chose that life.
Jesus probably didn't mess with Mary then.
No, Jesus definitely did not mess
over
with Mary.
The priest though.
I was gonna say he is way more than a priest. He is like a spirit and all that. He was not bringing Mary into that Trinity.
Mary slid in that tent late.
Leave Mary alone.
Mary thick. Now I shouldn't say that, but Mary's a woman, so she can have a beautiful body. So if she's thick, she could be thick.
Why are you talking about Mary's body? She's dead and gone.
I mean, she's a real person.
Leave that lady alone.
Because she was like somebody amazing and dope in the Bible does not take away from her beauty.
I agree. She was probably such. I mean, she got named in there. There's not that many women by name in the Bible. So if you make the list, then you stood out in some way.
You definitely stood out.
So, but I think that and
she was always around.
She was always around. Maybe she was at a scrimmage with the other disciples who weren't yet on Jesus's level. The disciples
did they have situations?
I'm sure the disciples was getting down. They weren't perfect people.
Have been. This would be against what God's saying.
But they were just learning how.
They technically.
That's right. He was like, "Come on." And they were like, "I'm dropping my fish and coming," but they didn't know what they could do yet until he
because you going to village to village.
That's right.
And I'm sure you've seen something dope, something thick out there.
Listen, if you think the disciples were the disciples getting down on the road, let us know. Drop it in the comments. I'm not calling no disciple in general, but I think they were learning how to be perfect.
Question.
It is, right? That. I like that. Y'all let us know. Don't leave us hanging. But I do think that adultery, from what we're talking about,
kind of get out there stunting because you're like, yo, I'm out here with Jesus. Go. Pulling up to the tent. You know what I mean? Which is bad, but technically it's like...
use Jesus for clout?
He's got a whole entourage. He had thousands of people with him. Like, yo, I'm with him. You got that bread? Put the leaven in that joint. Let's go. Let's go. I'm trying to...
So you think they use Jesus for clout to get chicks?
They already had clout.
I'm done. I think being one of the 12 already gave them instant clout. I think that, but you're right. Rolling with Jesus probably did make you celebrity back then.
They were definitely celebrities.
I agree.
Rolling with a cat who just fishing loaves, who just expanded all this. Yeah. Somebody had to tell these people thank you. Like, how were they telling them thank you? It was no handshakes. These cats was probably barbaric.
Why couldn't they shake hands?
No, nobody. I mean, at the end of the day, it always talks about lust in the Bible.
It did. There was a lot of sex in the Bible. I remember, when I was young, just getting into the Bible, I was like, whoa, because you always start at the Old Testament, and that's where everything goes down.
Everything. You just got to go deep in there.
If you go deep, that's where it goes down. There was always lust and sex and murder. There was a lot of murder. The Old Testament's like Lifetime.
Cats was mad. Like, we gonna stone you this week.
They were stoning people. Like, it went down. It went down. Lifetime. Y'all could just redo the Bible, and then that could be like a whole few years of content for y'all.
And let's say, I hate to get into Paul, but I do love Paul. But Paul, who turned into Saul, he was a barbarian. Yeah. There are women who are attracted to that type of person, that bad boy. Yeah. So did he have a lot of harlots?
I'm not gonna let you talk about Paul like that. Paul wrote all them letters. He didn't have time for no chicks. He wrote all them letters.
But
he was right. Before he wrote the letters, I think he was definitely having a lot going on. Before his name changed?
Right, before the name changed.
Yeah, before the name changed, I think he was getting down. If he had that same personality.
Who did he marry?
I don't think that they got married. Did they? I don't think the disciples got married. Help us out. Did the disciples get married?
Did they get married?
Did they get married? I don't think so.
I don't know.
You don't really hear a lot about what happened to them after they spread the church and went and educated everybody. They need at the end of the movie when after the thing and they're 5 years later, 10 years later, and it'd be Paul went on and they had all the 12 disciple stories and how they all ended. That would be dope.
But then again, we have to go at what point where the scripture come in you're impure. Right. When did that come in? Did we decide this? Was it a signal from God? Was it a whole moment that you have? Yeah. And you're meditating? Or was it just one day we saw you can't do that? Yeah. But then again, stuff was wild back then. Yeah. You got sorcery, you got, strange things going on. So you might take on a whole body, spirit of somebody else. Who knows?
I agree. I think that's why Jesus was going around with his homeboys telling everybody what they couldn't do now. That was literally what they was doing.
But you know what? I do have to say this. Jesus did not smash anybody, and this is how I know why. So my college quarterback was a virgin. He didn't cuss, and he was so pure, had perfect mindset. He was just like like a really good dude.
Like Tim Tebow?
Yeah, like Tim Tebow before Tim Tebow went left. Well, no, he's not left.
Did he go left?
No, he's fine. Tim Tebow's great.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, like, in order for Jesus to have that stance, like, he couldn't have slipped up in somebody's DM. Like, if Mary came in the tent, he had to tell her no.
That's right. I agree.
But he was tempted for 40 days.
Who
came for 40 days?
I think he was more tempted by food. He was hungry. He talked a lot about being hungry. He didn't talk a lot about, like, I wish I had some sex up here. I'm sexually frustrated. He was like, I'm thirsty. I'm hungry.
But the devil's going to give you your fondest desires. He's going to give you what you really... So if your demon looks like a fine chick, or if it looks like a new car or whatever you're fixated on, it's gonna look like that. So it could have been any one of those things. I don't think Jesus went a bunch of days without eating. I'm not sure. I know they said he was hungry, but was that the thing? Was it a lady?
I think Jesus got tempted.
It had to have been hard. Women still look good back then.
Women still look good back then.
If a harlot's dancing and Jesus is looking. Right.
I think he tried to look away. But I do think Jesus did get tempted by wanting a human experience at some point.
Had to.
I think so, 100%. But he's perfect. They said that a lot of times in there. He didn't slip up.
He had a lot.
God gave them the strength not to slip up. That part of the Trinity.
Was it slipping up back then?
Yeah, right. Or whatever they said.
No,
they had their own phrase.
We gotta look that statistic up.
We'll look that up. We'll bring that back for y'all. But I think back to the polyamory of today. Because we're talking about
Old Testament to New Testament.
Yeah, so the New Testament, they definitely said, like, we're not doing that anymore. One person. You're supposed to love one person, until you die. And then the rules get really fuzzy as a widower and a widow. But I do think I agree with your, not necessarily the spiritual version of splitting spirits and the demon hopping and sex demons and stuff, but like in terms of like your attention, your time, your energy, your ability to communicate. Like I think the energy that it takes to do well with that with one person versus do it with like, I think old boy and the Mormons had like 6 wives or 4 wives or 3.
It's hard to give your attention to so many different people.
Yeah.
Because people require so much from you and you're not able to give that. And it's kind of like you're, so to speak, you're cheating on that person because, but you can also look at that in another way because technically if you got kids, you got family, I mean, you're splitting your emotions and thoughts anyway, but can you technically give your heart to multiple people?
I do think you can give your heart to multiple people.
It'll just be different.
It'll just be different. I mean, because like the way I love our kids is like way different than the way I love you, right? So like love looks different. But marriage, that's what I'm saying, like multiple marriages, like how you got time to have kids, a job, and multiple husbands? Like for the women that have multiple husbands, I'm like, is you making all the dinners and do the husbands like to eat the same food?
But I just agree because it says
I'm exhausted at the end of all the days. Like, so if I had more husbands, oh no, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, that would definitely make you a harlot. But but it says you can love one and despise the other. So I don't think you can technically have all these. I don't know if you would despise these, but you're going to love one above all the rest.
I agree.
Is that fair? Because you can't give all yourself to that person.
I think, and that's what you're saying exactly what I was saying. I think there then becomes a hierarchy, like on a sports team, like first string, second string, third string. And then if you're like the third string husband or wife, like, do you get jealous? And then
it was never really why women with multiple dudes.
No? I just want women to have, I just want women to have equal rights with everything. So.
I don't know if that's an equal thing. I mean,
it could be. Nowadays, though, there are women with multiple, like in polyamorous situations, there's women with multiple men.
Right, there are, and that's an interesting situation, but I can't get into that. But let's talk about these celebrities and their issues. So think about the whole Will and Jada situation. Like, was that okay? Was that consensual? Because Will acted out like, yo, I'm angry about this and had a whole and then slapped the dude in the face. No, that was something different. But I mean, I'm just saying, he was still angry about this whole situation when it came out. Did he not know Tuesday was coming over on the weekend?
That
didn't even sound right. That was the weekend.
No, I get it. I get it. No,
the weekend was coming over on Tuesday.
I was actually, like, we're definitely having tacos tomorrow. But I definitely think that he might have known about the situation in some point. But I think by the emotion he had when he gave the interview and like how he was acting out after and everything, I think the entanglement was more than he might have thought. Like, and that's the thing. When you're dealing with multiple people, you got to be transparent. You got to communicate. Everybody's going to be on the up and up. Like, people can't, there's got to be rules and boundaries. And then by the time you do all that, is it even fun anymore? Like, what is we doing? But to protect yourself, you've got to put boundaries around it. And whatever happened with Will, I don't think the boundaries were clear.
But they were bringing a book out, right? Wasn't Jada bringing a book out?
She did eventually bring a book out.
That could have technically been a marketing thing.
But her book came way later.
Ah, you're right.
Right? Well, I don't know. My time got fuzzy during COVID. I don't know. Like, after the kids and all that, COVID, 2 or 3 years. But she definitely used the traction of our interest in that story as a part of her book and marketing book tour. And I think, but that's another thing. They have been rumblings of them having an open marriage for years. So what was all that emotion about?
I don't know. The Will Smith and Jada thing is all different.
Yeah, but like Neo the singer, he has like 3 girlfriends right now.
Does he really?
Yes. They post online and like they be like, oh, we're on vacation and we're in bikinis with Neo.
I mean, the problem is this becoming the modern look for relationships and for marriage? Like, why is marriage dying? Is it because, I mean, I think honestly it's, first of all, people need to be in the church. And I think people are in the church, but it's like we are worshiping TikTok. We're worshiping Instagram. We're lusting after it. And it doesn't help when you open the phone and you're like, oh, wow, she's twerking. My wife ain't twerking. Why she ain't twerking? I mean, it doesn't help, but it's like you have...
I mean, not at home, but sometimes at home. Don't be. He's not talking about me. He's talking about mythical men who look at
But I mean, it's like you have instant candy right in front of you. So I think that it doesn't help with the relationship with the man and the wife. It's like you're constantly inundated with something attractive. Yeah. Man, women, it doesn't matter what it is. And then that kind of affects the relationship. It's like, do I really need to be with this person? And it seems like it's so many different options out there. And the bad thing is people are getting work done. So now everybody looks amazing. Everybody looks like a perfect Barbie, like a perfect unicorn walking around.
Everybody
got
the same good body, and now you can't not be tempted.
You see a bad body, a normal body, like, oh, she got a bad body, bro.
Yeah, like body. Normal bodies are definitely going away. Bring back the normal bodies and love for normal bodies. But I do think that you're right. But I think we've proven the olden times all the way, like, men have always wanted multiple situations, right? I think the laws and the rules and Christianity versus other religions have normalized. So I think really it's a cultural or societal expectation for monogamy. So like some people believe in evolution, right? Monkeys aren't monogamous, right? So as humans evolve, no, monkeys aren't monogamous. Like many animals aren't monogamous. So we as humans have placed religious and societal expectations, but the human body itself, even Jesus talks about, we're born impure, like ready to sin. Like sin just happens. It rolls off the tongue. Sin is like, what's up? I'm the star of the show. So I think the point of all this is if you aren't a religious-based person, you don't get in that Bible, get in that church, that societal expectation.
But the backdraft to this is that there's a problem in society. This is ruining households and families. And I mean, once you get to the brass tacks of this, it's like, you got multiple different moms and dads, and you want this person, and then the kids are dealing with the mental health issues. And I mean, we're splitting spirits, or it's just so dysfunctional to do so many of these things, and you can't focus on your own family. That's what's bad. I mean, some people can, but I think like look at Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon got 30 kids. He be
making that work. Like, he be like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m. Like, Mariah was like, I just don't want no parts of this. Like, what was
she got her too, though.
She got her too. But that was a 2-for-1. They're twins.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah. She was like, I'm out now. But I think as long as everyone involved comes together to make it work, I've seen blended families and interesting scenarios, and they make it work for the kids. Like, we're making it work. I think it's when everyone wasn't on the up and up and there's lies, miscommunication, and misunderstandings. And now she mad and he mad. Now I want to fight her every time I see her. So you can't drop the kids off. It's like, that's when it gets bad. But polyamory is technically when everyone has agreed. So it should be working, right?
I think it should be working.
If you're agreeing. But then people be peopling.
But this is the bad thing when you're really getting betrayed and, you know, this immoral thing, like we have to really get infidelity, like Netflix betrayal. Did you get cheated on because she watched the wrong episode and cheated on you? Is this technically infidelity?
Like we were watching the show and then I watched the episode without you?
That feels like infidelity.
I must admit, when you've done it before, I've been like, no, he didn't watch Love is Blind without me.
Right.
Or I fell asleep and you kept going. I was like, you knew I was asleep.
2 episodes in?
I thought your eyes were open. But yeah, but imagine having that conversation with 3 other people. How are you guys choosing this? How are you all making polyamory work? Like, for you all that are in a polyamorous relationship, what makes it work? Like, how do you keep it going? Like, what's at the root? Because for me, this marriage works because the Lord said to make it work. Because sometimes I be wanting to say stuff and I'm like, Lord, the Bible said, respect my husband. And so I like, but I got to pull on that. Like, what are y'all pulling on to make polyamory work? But okay, so we gonna have to wrap.
But either way, we
got to wrap this up.
We got to wrap this up. So either way, I feel like in the Bible, it's talking about that we just need to have one wife, one husband. Yes. Don't split spirits. Nope. Don't split hairs. Don't split anything with anybody else. Don't be pulling these harlots in.
No.
Jesus didn't rock with nobody else.
Nope. And it's
Mary
the law.
didn't slide in a DM.
You literally can't even marry more than one person in the United States.
Well, in Utah, they had a situation.
Oh, okay.
I was actually going to college when that whole thing was going on with the, what's the dude's name? John? Was it John?
Utah, look at y'all doing something different in the rest of the U.S.
Whole
you never really be like, in Utah, they do something.
I was going to school in Montana, so, you know.
I love that you know about all those states. But, okay, it's time for our Naked Truth moment.
Okay, let's do it.
Have you ever thought about being like, maybe I just need another wife? And I like her, but I want another wife with us, like a unit.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every guy's had that thought. But not me at all.
Every guy.
Because I am happy at home.
Every guy.
Happy one wife, happy life. One wife, happy life. And that's how that should go. You know? See, I prayed on this and I manifested it. So I knew what I was getting. I didn't manifest 2 or 3.
You manifested all of me. All of me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I've never wanted more than one. No. I could barely deal with this one.
No.
I'm tired. I be tired. I be drinking Celsius. Like, how can I deal with this situation? That's what I'm saying. But yeah, but no, I love it. I mean, I think the key is like, do what works for you. You know, God said what he said, but you know, if that's not what you subscribe to,
keep it pure.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, keep it pure.
If you're Christian,
keep it with one person. Do what you're supposed to do.
Do what you're supposed to do.
And we're probably not going to be dealing with the issues that we are.
That's right.
That's a whole nother issue, guys.
It's a whole nother episode.
So, guys, thank you for joining. Tune in next week for some heat coming your way and real life, real talk.
Like, share, tell all your friends. See you next week.
Let's go.